All right, welcome to my session, Screencasting 101. This session is kind of a branch off of the blended learning session that was available before. In this session, we'll be talking about screencasting. We'll talk a little bit about what screencasting is, how students and teachers can benefit from making screencasts, and then we'll talk about the important stuff too, the tips, the tricks, and all the tools you'll need to make screencasting in your classroom. Without any further ado, let's jump right in. We'll kind of lead off here with just getting a better understanding of what screencasting is. Screencasting is essentially recording what is ever on your computer, or in this case, iPad screen, and it usually includes some sort of audio component with it. Some of the great ways that screencasting can come into play is it's a great way to teach or to share ideas. Some common examples that you would see of screencasts with education are tutorial videos, video lessons, or even SlideShare presentations. Screencasting gives more control over the time, the place, and the pace at which a lesson goes. Students have the ability to pause and rewatch portions of certain videos. They can watch videos from different places, whether that's at home or in school. And screencasting adds a personal touch in ways that other methods just can't. Yes, I'm looking at you, PowerPoint and Smart Notebook. We're going to cover some of the ways that screencasting can be used by teachers and how it can be a benefit to them. The first reason we'll talk about is students who missed a lesson, whether the kid is gone for the day or they missed for some other reason. Screencasting is a great way for them to be able to catch up. Instead of just grabbing somebody's notes or trying to, have a quick conversation with the teacher, screencasting allows them to listen to the whole lesson, the same thing that the other kids are hearing, and they can catch up kind of at their own time, at their own speed, from wherever it is that they can have time to listen to that lesson. The second one, and the one that I use the most in my room, is when you have a sub. We have some great substitutes who work here for Lakeview, but sometimes it's just really nice when you have maybe a difficult lesson or something you really want the students to hear from you. Rather than having the sub try to do some of those difficult tasks, record yourself, make a screencast, and teach a lesson. The students can still hear from you, the sub can still help them with any questions that they have, and it just gives overall better guidance for a substitute and for the students when a teacher is gone. The next one's a really important one as well, when you can't be at two places in one. Maybe you have students who are working on a project or have some directions. If you made a screencast that gave them directions and maybe some examples to look at, the students would be allowed to just kind of go at their own pace, at their own rate, without needing you to sit down and explain it to them. That would be a really good time saver for teachers. One other way that this would be really helpful too is it's great for parents to see. One of the biggest things that parents struggle with is when a student is working on something difficult and they can't help them. Well, if you had posted maybe some screencasts in Schoology or someplace where the students could view it, students and parents could sit down and they could watch it together. Parents maybe would be able to watch kind of how the teacher would model doing an example problem, and maybe they would be able to help explain it to their students as well. And the last one is, when you know maybe a lesson is going to be difficult and they need extra help or extra practice, when students maybe go home or when they're working at their desk and they just need that little bit of extra practice, they need to watch somebody be able to model that problem again, rather than having to have all that interaction with a lot of students who may need help. A screencast would be a beneficial way for a teacher to be in multiple places at once and be able to help students all by just creating a screencast ahead of time. Now we'll kind of take a look at it from the student side, and we'll talk about some scenarios where having students make screencasts would be really, really beneficial. The first kind of idea there is this is just a great way for students to show what they know rather than just tell all the time. With screencasting, students can really demonstrate their knowledge, whether it's any subject, math, reading, etc., etc. They have a great opportunity for them to show exactly what they know. There's so many tools and pictures and videos and things that they can bring in. They can still use their voice to be able to kind of demonstrate what they know, and there's just a lot of great tools and features out there for them to be able to show exactly what they know rather than just always telling somebody what they know. The second kind of really big benefit for students is it's great for math. Math is one of those subjects that it's really tough to always integrate technology that's interactive. Screencasting is perfect for math. Students can demonstrate math problems. It gives the teacher, kind of a good sense of maybe what the student knows, maybe areas that they're struggling with, and it's just a lot harder to kind of struggle their way through when you screencast. The third kind of idea here is that students can teach. Imagine a situation where students made screencasts of different concepts. They demonstrate problems all throughout a year. And what if a teacher collected those screencasts and posted them maybe on a website or somewhere in their room that students could access them? And as the year went on, that collection of resources continues to grow and grow and grow. And now fast forward to the next year, and students are coming up to those concepts and maybe they need a little bit of extra help in one area. Well, if there was a screencast already made by another student who knew how to do it, they could use that as a resource and it would save the teacher a lot of time. If you did that every year, think about over a couple of years how many extra resources a teacher would have for students to be made available. The fourth idea I really like here too is help and how-to videos. A lot of times, especially with technology, students are the expert. Having them create videos about how to do different things in the classroom could really be a benefit to teachers, and it can really be a benefit to other students. Utilizing screencasting, the students can demonstrate different concepts. If they want to show students how to use an app or anything like that, the students can make great screencasts and be great at demonstrating those concepts. And the last kind of idea here is it just gives a better understanding of how well a student understands a concept. If a student was talking about fractions and they showed some examples, it's a lot harder in a screencast for a student to kind of just skate by. If they aren't really strong at a concept, it will definitely show up in a screencast versus just writing down an answer where a student could, look at somebody else's or just kind of be able to skate by. Screencasting just gives a great way for teachers to kind of understand. It gives students the opportunity to use their voice to show what they know, and it's just a really good idea for both students and teachers. All right, I'm going to jump into some tips and tricks to screencasting. Now, some of these things are things that I have discovered through my time screencasting in classroom. For those of you, a lot of you have probably started to make the connection that the sessions that are available for you to take, a lot of them are done by screencasting, including this session right here. So the tips and the tricks that I'm about to share are all things that I have learned through my experiences. Number one, the shorter you can keep your screencast, the better. Many students don't like to watch really long videos, so the shorter, the less amount of time that you can have a screencast going, the better. The trade-off with keeping your screencast short is that students are able to rewind and rewatch portions of your video instead of having to listen to longer videos. The next one I've had to learn the hard way. It's really important to practice or to prepare to make sure you know what you're going to say. Otherwise, you get some awkward pauses, you get a lot of ums, which I know I definitely still run into from time to time. But it's really important to just make sure you know exactly what you're going to say, because it's kind of awkward when you first get started to talk and do a screencast. It can be a little bit difficult. But the good part about screencasting is that you're able to re-record and pause as you go. If you don't like the way something sounds, if you didn't explain something exactly how you'd like it, if you lose your train of thought and you start dropping a bunch of ums, with screencasting, a lot of the programs allow you to go back and re-record a whole segment over. Additionally, a lot of programs will allow you to pause so that you don't have to record a whole segment at one time. You can just pause, gather your thoughts, and then keep on moving. This has been a really useful one for me. Tip number 4 is to make sure at the end of your screencast to go back and review it. You really want to make sure your thoughts are coming across clearly, everything you have in your video is organized and it works, and then if you need to make any changes, you can go back and edit and make those changes as necessary. Number 5 here is to make sure you post the video or the screencast where it's easily accessible. A lot of programs will allow you to upload directly to YouTube, which seems to be a general theme where all students are able to easily access materials. You can either throw those up on a QR code, you can post them in Schoology so students can easily click and jump to those videos. I like people who have come up with the idea to collect videos and post them in a place where students can get help in future years. All of those are great ideas where students can have easy access to your screencasts. And my last tip here is an acronym I learned from the legendary Coach Ray, KISS, Keep It Simple Stupid. A lot of these screencasting programs allow a lot of functions. There's a lot of different things you can do. Most of the time with screencasting, you just need to keep it simple. Stick to the basics. Don't get caught up in all the functions. Make sure stuff is easy to read and easy to view, and that will make for a great screencast. The last portion of the video here is going to be covering some of the tools that you can use for screencasting. Now I'm going to cover about 5 or 6 here, and I'm just going to do them very briefly. I'll show you some of the functions, some of the very basis of what they can do. It's going to be your responsibility to find something that fits for you and to give them a try. Now I'm going to be covering some apps that are for iPads, and I'm going to be covering some programs that you can use on your computer. All right, the first screencasting tool we're going to look at here is called Educreations. Now this is a free iPad app available in the App Store. I've included a picture of what the app logo looks like so that you can easily find it in the App Store. Like I mentioned, this app is free. It does have some premium features that I'll kind of point out what the difference between the two are and how those might be beneficial if that's something you're looking for. The reason I'm starting with this app is it's probably the simplest screencasting tool out on the App Store right now. There are some things that you can make it a little more complex, but for students and teachers, this is probably the best place to start with screencasting, and you can really do some really simple, basic screencasting things. Now, one nice thing about Educreations, you're able to log in with your Google account. So after you've gotten logged in, it's going to look something like this over here. So this is my screen when I log into Educreations. I'm just going to walk you through a couple of basic things. To start a new lesson, just hit the plus. It'll take you through all the steps, and we'll show you what that looks like. These are all the lessons that I've made so far. So in my Educreations account, I can see the old lessons that I have done. The one thing I do want to point out, obviously your settings, a place for you to, upgrade your account, do a lot of those types of maintenance things. But this one right here, this little star, allows you to view other lessons that people have made. So again, when we talk about blended learning or screencasting, it doesn't always have to be just you. There's a lot of great resources out there. A lot of people have put a lot of time into these things, and it's easy to utilize what's already out there. So this is what the Educreations screencasting program looks like. Like I said, very simple, very basic. I'll just kind of walk through what some of the tools are that Educreations provides. So the first most basic one is the pencil tool right up here. You have a wide variety of colors. If you tap on them, you get some more options there. In the plus, that's probably the one that people will utilize the most. You're able to add items. I'll show you some of the free ones and some of the premium ones that are available to you. Page, by hitting this little page button, you can change the background of the page. Line paper, graph paper, some of those types of things that you might need in a screencasting lesson. Down here in the bottom right corner, right now we're on page 1 of 1. If we want to add more pages, we just click on the little arrow button. The big one right here is the little record button. As you hit that button, anything that you do on your screen is going to be recorded. So any audio or any drawing that you do on the screen is going to record, and that's how you make your screencast. If you notice right next to it, the little pause button right there, you're able to pause and play as you go, and I'll kind of show you that feature as well. Here's some of the quick tools for Educreations. You're able to add text, a lot of different ways to change that, fonts, all the normal stuff. The next one is photos, so you can take anything out of your camera roll, any pictures that you've saved, you can add them in, you can draw on them, you can do a lot of different things with the photos. And then obviously the camera tool, if you want to add a video of something or take a picture of something, you're able to do that. Now those are all free features that automatically come with Educreations. Down along the bottom, their pro or their premium features, you're able to add documents, whether they're Google Docs, Google Sheets, Google Slides. Any of those Google documents will work, PDFs, things like that. You're able to access your Google Drive account, so anything in there you can pull into your EduCreations lesson. The next one there is you're able to add like a web browser. So if you wanted to show something on the web, how to navigate someplace or where to go, with the Pro feature, you're able to do that. And the last one is a map. Again, map feature, something that you could utilize with the Pro version. The last thing I'm going to kind of show here is just what it looks like when you record. So after I hit that record button, my time is going to start going. Anything that I do on that screen, whether I write or whether I talk, is going to be recorded and be able to be played back. One of the features that we talked about earlier that's really nice is the ability to pause. So if I start doing some stuff and I want to change something, or I want to kind of gather my thoughts, I can hit the pause button and my recording will pause there, and then I'm able to pick up. One of the only little things that I don't like with EduCreations is you don't have the ability to go back and edit. So if you made a mistake and you wanted to just go back about 10 seconds and fix that, EduCreations does not have that feature to be able to allow you to do that. When you are all done with your lesson, you just hit the little back button. It'll allow you to save it. With the free version, EduCreations will save in their own kind of file format, so people have to have the EduCreations app to be able to view your lessons. If you have the Pro version, you have the option to save them to your camera roll, and then you could do whatever you want from them, whether it's YouTube, whether it's posting them directly into Schoology, or whatever it is you want to do. So in a nutshell, like I said, that's EduCreations. Very basic, very simple, a great place to start with simple screencasting. All right, the next one I'm going to kind of show here is Screencast-O-Matic and Screencastify. Now I'm going to kind of group these together mainly because they're very similar to each other. Both of these are screencasting tools that you would use more on your computer. They're not iOS apps. One of the nice parts is Screencastify has a Google Chrome extension, so you're able to just quickly make screencasts. Both of these share a lot of similar features, so I'm just going to kind of show you how they work. Up here, I've created a Screencastify account. I've downloaded a couple of things that I've needed to do, and I'm just going to show you kind of how they work. Like I said, the nice part is it has this little extension right here. All I have to do is click on it once, and then I can click this button right here that's going to allow me to record whatever actions I make. Now, one thing you have to kind of keep in mind with screencasting on your desktop is you have to have some sort of microphone, something that can connect to your computer so that you can record your voice if that's something you're looking to do. And the other thing too to remember is you can add in your face. You can record yourself in these screencasts. That's going to require a webcam or some sort of device that will allow you to record your face or a video of yourself as you go along on your screencast. So I'm not going to show you any of those features there. Just keep in mind that those are options for you. So for me, if I just click this record tab after I've gotten everything set up, it's going to give me a countdown. 2, 1. And then everything I do on my screen is going to be recorded. So if I wanted to select something, it makes it really easy for people to see. I have a whole bunch of features down here in the corner. I have a pointer, a pen tool, an eraser tool. I can wipe everything off my screen. So if I wanted to really highlight, let's get the pen here. If I wanted to highlight something just to make, kind of a note of it, I can do that. If I want to clear everything off. If I jump to different pages, all that stuff is still going to be recording as well. Okay, so all things that I have the ability to do. Whenever I'm done, again, there's a pause feature down here in the corner that I'm going to hit, and if I say end recording, it's going to save that automatically to my Google Drive. So here's kind of what it looks like. It's going to play it back. Again, I don't have the microphone or a camera set up, so it's just the basic recording, and it just kind of goes through that. So just a really simple way to make screencasts from your computer. I have seen people who have done screencasts using like Smart Notebook and their Smart Board. They have a microphone close enough that they can hear themselves when they're up their Smart Board, and then they're able to write stuff on their Smart Board in Smart Notebook and make a screen capture that way. So one kind of creative way to combine some different tools and stuff, and that's screencasting from a computer. All right, next I'm going to show you one of my favorite tools, the one that I use primarily for all of my screencasting needs. Is called Explain Everything. Now this one is on the App Store, and fair warning, there is a price to it. It is a paid app. I'm not exactly sure what the price is right now, There is a free version out there that allows you to have a 30-day trial. There's one app that you just pay an upfront cost and it has all the features. There's another one that is free, but it comes with premium features even on top. So you probably want to stick with the one that's paid, just pay your one-time fee and then everything is included there. That's what I recommend with Explain Everything. Now, the reason why I like Explain Everything, there are a ton of features. They're easy to use. It takes a little bit of time to kind of get used to them, but there's a lot of things you can do with Explain Everything that I think are really, really beneficial and really, really cool. What I have pulled up right now is one of the sessions that I did earlier, the Educator's Guide to Twitter, and I did that session on Explain Everything. I'm just going to point out a couple of things for what Explain Everything looks like. Just basic toolbar navigation here on the right side, or excuse me, the left side I should say. Just going to point out a couple of things. The plus, again, that's where you're going to add all of your items. I'll show you kind of some of the items that you can add. Pen, highlighter, eraser, the ability to add shapes, text, how you delete things. This one is the target, the little pointer that I got going here. And then you're able to either rotate or lock items with this one right here. Along the bottom, you have the ability to record, pause, rewind. Right here, you're able to go back and re-record stuff. I'll show that feature because that's really, really helpful and one of the reasons why I really like Explain Everything and I find it really useful. And then over here, it just shows you how many slides that you have made in your screencast. So once I've hit the plus button here, this is where I am able to insert all of the different items, and this is one of the reasons why I really like Explain Everything and why I think it's so useful. You have a lot of options here. Again, they're all included in the initial price, so that's kind of where the a little bit steeper price for Explain Everything probably comes into play, but it's something that I think is very useful. So you can add existing items from your camera roll, any pictures or videos. You can add files, so I've added PDFs, I've added Google Documents before with Explain Everything. The browser feature is really cool. It gives you a live browser that you can scroll, you can navigate, you can record, you can write on it. It's a great way if you're showing where to go on a website or how to navigate a website. You can do great things with screencasting using the browser feature. New video, that's what allows me, that's what allows you to see me, is I can insert that video. I can record stuff. It just makes it a little bit more personal and it's a little bit easier for students to watch when there's kind of that little bit of interaction, I guess if you want to call it. If I wanted to add in just an audio clip, I could do that or pick some sort of audio format. And then what's also kind of cool, we talked about screencasting is really important in math and it can be really valuable. They have an equation function for the more complex math that allows people to insert equations, to manipulate equations, and to do different things rather than just trying to use the standard keyboard. It's been really, really helpful for people that do screencasting in math. And the last part of Explain Everything that I really think sets it apart from some of the other screencasting tools is the ability to kind of go back and re-record sections. Again, if you hit the record button, you still have the option to pause, if you need to regroup or do anything like that. But what's nice about Explain Everything is if you're recording a section and you make a mistake or you just want to only take a look at a little tiny portion of something that you've recorded, with some of those other apps, you're not able to do that. With Explain Everything, you have the ability to cut apps, to split sections of videos, and then go back and re-record just those segments. So if I bring up my little timeline here, I would be able to kind of scroll back. If I wanted to only delete 5 seconds out of a 10-second clip, I can do that. Then I can go back and kind of re-record and just make those changes that I need to without having to start over or delete everything. That's a really nice feature, especially as you're first getting going. Screencasting is something that takes a little time to get used to. It can be difficult and kind of tricky to get your words out and get your thoughts out accurately, as well as utilize all the functions that you're looking for. Therefore, having that ability to kind of manipulate the video is just a really useful feature. All right, I'm going to show us one here that's a little bit different. AirServer has come out with kind of a new feature here that allows you to do screencasting and screen recording right through their program. Now, this is going to look kind of matrixy just because I am recording what's on my screen, but what's on my screen is what's on my iPad, and so that's kind of why you see the infinite loop on my screen there. But AirServer has now put this little button here I have a trial version because of the summer computer swap out. I don't actually have Air Server on my computer, but I'm going to give it a shot here. So if I look for this box that's on the screen and I right click on it, I can live stream straight to YouTube. That sounds like a Phil Lallam feature right there. But I can also record. If I go up to the record, it shows me which devices are connected to my computer, to Air Server. So if there are multiple ones, I would see them both there. And then all I have to do is click this record button. Now it's not going to let me because I'm doing the trial version, but if I clicked record, anything on my screen right here would be recording. So I could jump to different apps, I could show how they worked. All of that stuff would record and be a great way to do screencasting. So if I wanted to show stuff on my iPad and make a screencast, that would be one simple way where I could actually show the iPad interface and be able to navigate myself around there. The last tool I'm kind of going to show here is something that's not even released yet, but it's something that I think is really cool and can be a great way to screencast coming up very soon. Apple, for the first time, is going to release screen recording tools right in their iOS. So iOS 11, which will come out sometime this fall, will actually allow you to be able to screen record stuff just directly with your iPad or your iPhone or whatever device you're using. I just have pulled up a website here that kind of details how the screen recording is going to work. So I'm going to see if I can't kind of just scroll through it. You can see kind of what it's going to look like here. You can record right in it, your voice or whatever. It shows you kind of how to activate it. It's in the settings in the control center. You can put it right on the bottom of your screen. You can make super fast screen recordings just with your iPad. Again, it's one of those things. This will be a great tool for students if they wanted to make like help videos or how-to videos. They can do them right from their iPad. This is a great project for them to be able to kind of take some ownership over technology. So you can kind of see there's different things built in right here. Your screen recording will all be built right into iOS. Yeah, that's just what it's going to look like. So that'll be a feature that's coming out this fall. Something I haven't been able to mess around with yet, but I look forward to being able to try. All right, that's pretty much going to do it for the session here. I just have a couple of final thoughts, and I'll cover the requirements to get the 1 professional development hour and the continuing ed credits for this session. The biggest thing with screencasting is it's going to take some time to really get comfortable with. I've done probably 10, 15, 20 screencasts in my life, and I'm just at the point where it seems to be getting easier for me. So don't be discouraged if it's something that you have to try multiple times before you really get comfortable with. Biggest thing, keep them simple. That's the easiest thing that you guys can do to really make screencasting effective in your classroom. Don't forget, this is something that students could really excel at. It's something that they can do and take a lot of different ways, whether it's something for a specific subject, math, reading, science, social, whatever the case may be, or if it's using screencasting in another way, whether it's making a lesson, if it's showing students how to do different stuff. There's a lot of cool things that students can do, and definitely a lot of cool things that teachers can do. So just give it a shot. I'll just cover the requirements here. First one, watch the video. If you're at this point, I would assume that you've already done that. Second requirement is to find a screencasting tool that fits for you. I talked about Explain Everything, Educreations, the ones for different computers. There are lots of other screencasting tools that are out there. You're free to kind of try any of them that you wish. What you need to do, though, is to take one of those tools and make a practice screencast. It doesn't have to be anything specific. You can just try it out, record yourself, do whatever it is that you want to do, but it has to be a minimum of 30 seconds long. And then once you've finished your screencast, either post it in Schoology or email it some way that I can view that screencast, just so that I know that you gave one a try. That's all I'm looking for. It doesn't have to be anything content specific or related. Just want you to give screencasting a try and see what kind of tools that you discover that you like, and just give your skills a shot. All right, I thank you guys for watching ScreenCasting 101.